Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So thank you all very much for joining the Nectar of Instruction 10-part series. And we are on part 7 already. So we've come a long way, a few more verses still to go. But I appreciate all of your consistent attendance and your participation. Before we go into the verses today, I wanted to address a question that was asked 2 weeks ago. It's a nice question that I thought is worth getting into. How do we discern the difference between correction and fault finding? And understanding this distinction helps us receive correction humbly and offer it wisely. So the question was about, how can we receive it and also offer the correction when needed? And how can we identify the difference? So correction and fault finding, they may sound very similar, but they're so different. Correction aims to uplift and protect others. So you can sense the difference here. Whereas fault finding aims to expose or criticize others. The motivation is different. Correction is done with care and compassion, whereas fault finding is typically done with irritation or sarcasm. Correction is done in private or in a proper setting, whereas fault finding, they try to do it in public or behind their back. Correction seeks to help the person grow, whereas fault finding seeks to prove them wrong. So you can see the motivations are clear. So we have to check our motivations. See? Correction, if it's done properly, includes encouragement, whereas fault finding lacks patience or empathy. So before we offer correction, we are meant to ask, is it necessary? Is it my role to say something? Am I calm and prayerful? Can I appreciate their good qualities as well? That's important. This is what we should ask before we offer correction. And when we're receiving correction, assume good intent first. Then we want to ask ourselves, even if it is imperfectly said, is there truth in that correction that I can grow from? We want to stay open, not defensive. And if it's not clear, we can gently ask for clarification. Bhakti grows when we can be corrected without offense and correct others without pride. Corrected to uplift, not to shame. Often with humor, affection, and scripture, and never out of personal ego. So we can see that those who are advanced devotees, they're like, typically say, I live to be corrected. Correction is something that we can grow from if it's accepted properly. So we'll recap the last few verses. Verse number 3, the 6 principles favorable to bhakti, utsaha, nishchaya, dhairya, tat karma pravartanat, sangatyaga sato vritti. Being enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence, being patient, acting according to regulative principles, abandoning association of non-devotees, following the footsteps of previous acharyas. That's verse number 3. Verse number 4, we talked about the 6 loving exchanges giving and receiving, dadati pratikranati, giving and receiving gifts, 𝐼𝐞𝐥𝐸 prichati, revealing one's mind in confidence, and of course, listening when someone opens up. And then bhukte bhujayate, accepting and offering prasad. These are exchanges of love. They're natural behaviors that flourish when there's genuine love between devotees. This is how we show it. Verse number 5, of course, we exchange love, but how much with whom? So we learn about the 3 categories of devotees, Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama. Kanishta, the beginner stage, we mentally offer them honor from a distance. Progressive are the Madhyamas. They're progressive and they're responsible. They're good company to have. So to them, we become friends. We offer visible obeisances, get closer to them. And Uttama, they're very advanced. They're inspirationally absorbed in Krishna. Their whole goal is to how to give Krishna to others. Their lives are exemplary. They treat everybody perfectly. So to them, we serve them, we associate with them, we inquire from them. Now, of course, all 3 are Vaishnavas. So even the lowest category should be honored and respected. Amanina manadena. So this verse number 5 tells us to discern. But we don't want to go overboard in discerning, and certainly we don't discern on the wrong platform. So verse number 6 warns us, yes, we discern, but not on the externals. Just like a Ganga. Ganga is pure, even though there's foam and bubbles and mud that appear during the rainy season. But nobody doubts the Ganga's holiness. So devotee, the devotee's body, may be born in low caste, may have some kind of disease or deformity, may have some past karma manifest in the body and mind even. But their heart is pure and they're fully surrendered to Krishna. And this is seen in their behavior toward other devotees. This is seen in their behavior toward Krishna. It's quite simple. So this is verse number 6. Don't misjudge. Don't judge on the wrong platform. And so today's verse number 7. Verse number 7 is about the holy names. From preparation to participation in Krishna's inner circle. That's what the holy names do for us. It's interesting, it took us all this to even bring up Krishna. 6 verses in an 11-verse book. So now we're at verse number 7. We're not just turning a page, we're entering a new dimension. Up to this point, Rupa Goswami has trained us in the preliminary disciplines of Bhakti. He taught us how to control our senses. That's verse number 1. How to regulate our behavior. Verse number 2. Build healthy relationships. Honor devotees at various levels. Serve the sadhus with affection and humility. Learn to see beyond the externals. But why all this groundwork? So much groundwork, so much detailed explanation. It goes so much power-packed verses. Why that? Because Krishna is not casual. Krishna is not looking for temporary, distracted acquaintances. He's calling for eternal companions in his divine circle. And just as any person only opens up to someone who shows genuine care, Krishna also waits to see. He waits to see. Are we truly interested in him? Do we value the chance to enter his circle of eternal associates? Will we demonstrate our sincerity through meaningful relationships, discipline, and service to his devotees? So in that sense, everything we've learned so far was a test a sacred preparation to prove to Krishna, yes, I want you. Not just inspiration, not just community. I want you, Krishna, and I'm ready to meet you through your holy name. This is the turning point. Verse 7, where Krishna, through Rupa Goswami, opens the door to direct connection with Krishna by revealing the key process, the key practice that invites us into his presence. This is not to be taken lightly. That's why it's all the way here at verse number 7. Chanting of the holy names. But even here, there's a challenge. Yeah, it's so easy. No. Because in a conditioned state, we are like jaundiced patients. The name that is sweet, like sugarcane juice or sugar candy, Krishna Nama Charita Adisita. To us, in a conditioned state, it tastes bitter. We may not relish the chanting. We may feel disconnected or bored. But Krishna does not fault us for that. Instead, he offers a miracle. What is the miracle? Even though our taste is diseased, if we simply continue with two things, reverence and consistency, adarat anudinam, then that same name, which is bitter for us, gradually awakens taste, cures our disease, and draws us into Krishna's heart. So here in verse 7, we will see that full vision unfold. The relationships we cultivated weren't just social niceties. They were the foundation of trust in Krishna's eyes. The discipline we adopted wasn't just self-help, personal improvement. It was the preparation for sacred service of the holy name. And now, only now, we're invited to participate directly by chanting his names, tasting his sweetness, and allowing his name to heal us at the deepest level. This is the shift from proving our interest to experiencing his presence. So let us now explore this very transformational verse where the holy name becomes not just a practice, but a personal connection with Krishna himself. So read the verse now. Syat Krishna nama charitadisitapya vidya pittopatapta rasanasya narochikanu kintvadarādanudinam khalu saiva jushta svadvikramad bhavati tadgadamulahantri. The holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet, like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya, ignorance, cannot taste anything sweet, it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. This disease, what is this disease? The word pitta upatapta, refers to a severe bile disorder. Pitta means bile, and upatapta means severe medical condition. This is known as jaundice. The eyes turn yellow. Everything looks like you're wearing yellow tinted glasses. This is a disease where even the sweetest sugarcane juice or candy tastes bitter. I know from personal experience, when I was myself maybe 6 years old or 7, I got jaundice. I was living in Kenya, and it's fairly common. Little kids get it, actually. It's hepatitis. Wasn't too severe, but I was feeling a little sick. My eyes had turned yellow. I look in the mirror, not just eyes. I mean, everything I looked yellowish. It's very weird. And my father said, okay, we're going to get some sugarcane juice. Now, we would get sugarcane juice regularly anyway, every now and then as a treat. So I was so excited. And he got 7 bottles. Usually just get 1 bottle. He got 7 of them from the same store we get it. And he gave me a glass. And he said, all these 7 are for you. What? I was so happy. And then I tasted it. It tasted so bad. I was like, Daddy, got cheated. They gave it rotten ones. I said, no, 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 no. This is very tasty, but you got jaundice right now. Just drink it like medicine. Hold your nose and drink it. I had to do that. It tasted actually pretty bad. I have personal experience of this. This is avidya. Avidya is the jaundice. Avidya means what? The ignorance of our true spiritual identity. The holy name seems uninteresting, boring, or even difficult to chant, just as a jaundiced patient avoids sugar candy or sugarcane juice, thinking it's unpleasant. A materially conditioned soul resists the holy name, thinking there are more tasty, quote unquote, tasty things to enjoy. We get excited about the wrong things. So let's reflect. Why do I not feel the taste in the holy name? It's not because the name is lacking sweetness. It's because my rasana means the tongue and the taste. Rasa means taste. Rasana means the tongue. My tongue is diseased by materialism. It's diseased by false ego and distractions. What's the cure? Despite the disease, Rupa Goswami says, Kintvadarad anudinam. Kintu means but, adarad anudinam. If one chants with care and consistency, then the same holy name that seemed tasteless becomes sweet. It's a paradoxical cure. The medicine is also the very thing that tastes unpleasant at first. But if we persevere with faith and sincerity, it destroys the disease at its root. Tad gada mula hantri. Mula means the root. Most of you are practitioners of Krishna consciousness for many years. How many of us have had that experience that in the first few minutes of japa, it seems a little heavy, hard to get it rolling, but somewhere in the middle, we enter a flow, and suddenly something shifts for the better. That happens every now and then. That's the gradual awakening of svadvi bhav. Svadvi, that's the word here. Swad means taste. In fact, the English word sweet is rooted in swad. Svadvi bhav is a taste. So it is possible for us to tap into this. See, the sugarcane, it looks like bamboo. It has the same kind of joints. It looks like a dry stick. You can use it to hit something or whatever. If you want to get the juice out of it, you got to put a lot of pressure. It's a lot of work. There's machines that put a lot of pressure on it. So, we have access to this holy name, but we have to really discipline ourselves. We have to align ourselves. So there's a bunch of work that needs to be done before we can get that glass of juice. See? Here is a familiar and sacred image. The magnificent South Indian temples with their towering gopurams. As we approach such a temple, we don't immediately see the Lord. First, we pass through a series of these ornately carved gates, layer after layer of stone, artistry and symbolism. Each gopuram marks the threshold, bringing us closer to the heart of the temple. And finally, we enter, after going through several gates, we enter the inner sanctum, the 𝐼𝐴𝐵𝐽𝐿. 𝐼𝐵𝐽𝐿 is the sanctum sanctorum, where the Lord resides in all his splendor. That moment of darshan is powerful, but it only comes after we've walked through those gates with reverence. Our chanting of the holy name, this japa process, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. This japa process, the pure name, which is non-different from Krishna himself, is waiting for us in the innermost chamber of our consciousness. But to reach him, we must pass through 4 gates. Not of stone, These are the 4 gates of discipline, clarity, feeling, and surrender. These are the 4 gates of successful japa, and they gently guide us from formality to intimacy, from sound to substance, from the lips to the heart. So let us elaborate, let's walk through each gate one by one. The 4 gates of successful japa. Gate number 1, the fundamental. This is the outermost gate. Like the main Gopuram towering above the temple, it commands our respect. Srila Prabhupada emphasized proper posture. If you heard Prabhupada's japa tape, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, sit properly. He says sit properly twice in the recording. That means someone wasn't sitting up straight. That means it's important. He interrupted his japa to give an important instruction. Sit properly. He emphasized proper posture, back straight, neck aligned, not just to look austere, but because our mood affects our body and our body affects our mood. Add to that these other things of waking up early, chanting in a clean, sacred space, pronouncing each syllable clearly, and we've stepped inside the first gate. This gate helps us show up physically and consciously before Krishna. No, I'm serious, I'm interested. Body language proves, the first step to prove our interest. If I'm looking away, that proves that I'm disinterested. When you meet somebody, our body language speaks volumes. It's proof to Krishna we're interested. Gate number 2. Now we enter the second one, mind and intellect. The gate of intention, the gate of clarity, of understanding. The mind is restless, but not beyond control. When we remind ourselves that Krishna and his name are the same, the mind quiets down. Chanting becomes personal. And this is for you, my Lord, we say, this chanting. The more we understand the tattva, Krishna tattva, nama tattva, the essence, the philosophy behind it, the more our mind wants to stay near him. This gate asks for mental discipline, yes, but also loving dedication. Then the third gate. This is the threshold of bhava. Threshold of bhava, or heartfelt emotion. As Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, the name is heart deep, not lip deep. This is where our japa moves from dry repetition to a living relationship. We chant with gratitude, with longing, with remorse. We open our feelings before the Lord. Whatever is real, the real feeling, bring it to front of the Lord. Even our brokenness can become an offering. Because Krishna is not bought by eloquence or brute force. He's moved by feelings. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself came to show us how to cry for the Lord. Srila Prabhupada personally demonstrated that. So many videos and photographs, and you can hear his crying in the audio also. Gate number 4, finally, we reach the last gate. Here the devotee stops walking and waits. We've done our part. Now we look up and say, my Lord, I have come this far. If you wish, only if you wish, please let me enter. This is the gate of mercy, the gate of utter surrender. We don't demand darshan, we receive it. Not with entitlement, but with tears of humility and hope. Now, coming back to these emotions, we may not have love for God, but we can access other love adjacent feelings, like gratitude, appreciation, remorse. We can see that. Of course, now these 4 gates to successful japa, we actually spend about 5 to 6 hours diving into these 4 gates when we have our full day japa improvement workshop. It's based on this one slide, about 5 to 6 hour seminar. We really get into each one of these with all kinds of references. But today, this quick glimpse will have to suffice. If you're interested, those are available on YouTube, the other workshop seminars. We can share those references. Maybe we can share it on the chat. Okay. But I want to talk about this concept of approaching the love of God. Love is not something we can just immediately acquire. Love of God is a very, very lofty goal. The faraway goal for most of us who are conditioned souls in this world. But we can move toward love using stepping stones that are more readily reachable. If you want to go to that last rock there, we can't jump, but we can step on these other ones before. What are these stepping stones? Gratitude. We can be grateful to Krishna. That's something we can do immediately. We may not fall in love, but we can be grateful for everything he has done. We can learn to appreciate. Appreciation. Appreciate the great things he does, how fantastic he is, how he creates, and just appreciate his pastimes, his sweetness. So much can be appreciated. And that takes us to love. And another powerful one is remorse. We can be regretful that I wasted my time, my Lord. Our great acharyas teach us that. Hari Hari Bifale Janama-gopāla. I wasted my life fruitlessly. Acharyas pray like that. It's nice bhajans. Manusha Janama Paya, Radha Krishna Napajaya, Jani Ashunya Vishkaya. Knowingly, willingly, I just drank poison. This is remorse. Wasted my life. We can be remorseful for having wasted so many opportunities. And it really moves the Lord. It moves our heart too. And we can come closer to love. And once we make progress on the stepping stones, that's how we can reach Krishna. When we finally arrive, we don't want to have the attitude of an achiever or accomplisher. No, we want to remain in the mood of a helpless, poor, humble beggar, because actually we have nothing. Queen Kunti prays in the prayers in Bhagavatam, Janma Ishwarya Shuta Shri Edamana Madapaman. The one who runs after, wealth and beauty and high parentage and education. That's all they care about. Then even if they chant, they can't call out your name feelingly. 𝐼𝐞𝐞𝐥𝐿. In the purport, Prabhupada elaborates, he says that there's no exaggeration on these claims of how powerful the holy names are, and how by just chanting once, we can erase more sinful reactions than we can commit in many lifetimes. They're capable of committing. But he says this, however, there is a quality to such utterances. That's what he's talking about, the quality, the feeling. One has to be able to call out feelingly. How can we feelingly call out? Dear devotees, this chanting process is not a race. It's a pilgrimage inward through sacred gates that open not with keys, but with sincerity. If you enter even one gate today, that's a great step. But if you enter all 4, one by one, then Krishna himself, who is seated in the inner sanctum of his holy name, will rise to embrace you, because you took the time and the effort to prove to him that you're interested. When we arrive at that gate, what do? We beg with all the gratitude at our command. and an attitude of helplessness, because we are actually quite helpless. Leave the pride at home, forget it, let it. Pride is no place here. This is the process of chanting. Kintu ādharād anudinam khalu saiva jushta. Svadvi kramad bhavati tad gadamūlanti. Kramad means gradually, gradually. What we have to gradually? The two words in this verse are crucial. Ādharād and anudinam. With great reverence and with consistent regularity. Adar means to give respect and reverence, which means bring the discipline. And anudinam means all the time or consistent. If we can strongly invest in these two aspects of discipline and loving chanting, we can get the most out of this journey through the 4 gates. Each gate we enter, these are the gates, we enter with great care and deliberate effort. Ideally, we want to get into the habit of quickly aligning our external selves and diving into the chanting with feeling very quickly. But it takes time. It's like riding a bicycle. And in the beginning, when you haven't ridden one, you have to sit straight and you have to do it properly, and you start wobbling. You're not used to the balance part. You have to pick up some speed. You have to lift both your feet off and still keep the bike straight up and pedal really fast. It's hard. Once you get the hang of it, you don't even think about it. You start moving quickly. So similarly, when you get the hang of moving through the 4 gates quickly, you'll naturally set up straight. You'll naturally, embrace the Lord in your heart. But this takes practice. We want to lower our tolerance for mediocre and emotionless chanting. We will not save any time or gain anything by intentional, disengaged, hollow ritualism. You're going to spend the same amount of time chanting in a hollow way or in an engaged way. And rather, it'll be energy draining if you do it that wrong way. It's align the intentionality. It's not that hard. We already figured out that Krishna is the main person we want in our life. We already learned that chanting is the best process. We've come so far. It's like you won the lottery ticket, but you're neglecting to go to the office to claim the money. That's how it is. So next few steps, that's it. Just chant with our full effort. So how do we do this practically? 1, begin with honesty and humility. I don't feel taste. It's not a failure. It's a diagnosis. Just as we don't stop taking bitter medicine, we keep chanting sincerely. 2nd, cultivate ādharād, reverence, not mechanical chanting, but prayerful, attentive chanting. Even if the taste isn't there, our respect for the name makes the cure work. Respect. 3, create a supportive environment. How? Hear about Krishna, sing his pastimes, associate with those who relish his name, hang out with someone whose eyes light up at the thought of kirtan and who are excited about their next japa session. These all feed the taste like complementary herbs along with the sugarcane juice. And 4, reflect. Do some self-reflection. Reflect on the progress you've made. And you should celebrate the victories. Celebrate your growth. Realize that even partial sweetness is a sign that the disease is healing. Even a little bit of joy. Ah, yes, that was sweet. Yes, it's working. Holy name is very powerful. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sings this very beautifully. He sings this song. This is in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ante Lila 199. You should look it up. Tunde tandavinim ratim vitanute Tundavali labdhaye Karna kroda kadambini ghatayate Karnarbudebhya spriham Cheta prangana sangini vijayate Sarvendriyanam kritim No jane janita kiyad bhiramritai Krishneti varnadvai. I do not know how much nectar the two syllables Krishna have produced. When the holy name of Krishna is chanted, it appears to dance within the mouth. We then desire many, many mouths. When that name enters the holes of the ears, we desire many millions of ears. And when the holy name dances in the courtyard of the heart, it conquers the activities of the mind. Therefore, all the senses become subdued. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu singing this in great ecstasy, showing us how the gates move closer and closer, deeper into the heart. So those of us who are chanting already or who are not yet chanting, doesn't matter. We can make a commitment, a sankalpa. Usually sankalpa we make with some water. We can make ourselves a promise today. We can pray, my dear Lord Krishna, today I take the bold step of resolving to make a quantum leap in my japa practice. I pray to you that I can fully commit to being your devotee and chant your divine names with my full attention and love. I've been chanting for some time now, but I'll resolve to abandon my old habits, the bad ones, old bad habits, and take up all things conducive to better chanting as my surrender unto your lotus feet. You have already given me so much mercy in the form of Srila Prabhupada's teachings, an example for us to follow. You have given me the association of progressive devotees. You have given me opportunities to chant your names. So now please let me make progress on the path of pure devotion, the path of prema nama, the path of chanting your names with love. This is the prayer. This is the essence of our approach to chanting. You can see how Rupa Goswami aligned us so beautifully from the beginning. How to search for a guru. It's the first thing. You find someone who's actually tolerating the urges, the 6 urges. That's how you can find that person. Then he talked about the 6 pitfalls you got to watch out for. Before you start walking, you got to know where the potholes are and where the wells are to avoid. Then the 6 items that are going to ensure your success, utsaha, nishchaya, enthusiasm, and so on. And then, of course, he talks about the different ways we associate with devotees and we exchange of love. And then how we recognize the different levels of devotees and why that's important. And then also how it's important to not apply discrimination on external features of bodies. And then he says you chant, but approach it with care. Hadarad anudinam. So if we approach it like this, for certain, we are following in his footsteps. We are giving it the requisite sincerity and seriousness. And then we can get the mercy of the Lord. So as a closing meditation, we can take our beads now. The beautiful beads that are aglow with spirituality. Let me recognize these beads as the precious gateway to the mercy of the Lord. as I chant with more relish, I'll feel relief from the jaundice of ignorance. To the degree I surrender to the process of high quality, offenseless chanting, to that degree I can hope for the Lord's merciful reciprocation. Right? The Lord says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante, tam sathaiva bhajamyaham. To the degree they surrender to me, to that degree I reciprocate. Why? He doesn't like to impose himself. So the question is, are we truly ready to enter this spiritual realm? Or do we want to stay stuck in this dark room, surrounded by mundane distractions? That is a question. Do we want to enter the land beyond time? Or do we want to remain anchored down in this world time after time? You're very fortunate to have this access, to have these revelations, to understand the principles. It'd be a real shame to have come this close. And then we let go of this opportunity just because of a little bit of laziness or negligence. We know what to do. We have to ask ourselves, what am I afraid of? What's stopping me from being the best chanter or better chanter than I was yesterday? Nothing. Sometimes we're afraid, not of failure. Sometimes we're afraid of success because our conditioned mind thinks, oh, if I become a successful devotee, I may not be interested in doing mundane things anymore. I may move away from the selfish energy that has made me, quote unquote, successful. It's a fear. So, are we ready to enter this realm? This is a question we can ask ourselves. We can't ask anybody else. This is really for ourselves to ask. Am I going to pick up the beads with the renewed vigor to approach it with respect, this chanting process? It's a question for ourselves. So thank you all very much for your kind attention and for your valuable time in joining. We'll stop here. We'll pause here. And if anyone has any questions, I know last week we had to end the program a little earlier. We lost our dear devotee, Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu. We rushed straight from here. It was about around this time, 9:30 or so from here. And got to spend that last 1 hour with him chanting. And it was a glorious passing. He was certainly a pure devotee. And so grateful that I got his association. And I'm grateful that I can continue to serve in the temple where he served, in the community that he served. So, and I'm thankful for all of you. Now, if you'd like, you can save. There's a Venu Madhuri Mataji has very kindly shared the Japa Jumpstart video series where we spend several hours into going through each of the 4 gates. She shared them on the chat. So if you can copy, paste those and save them, might be a good idea. If you're interested in seeing, diving deeper into how we go into the 4 gates, it's quite an extensive exploration of that. All right, so we can open it up now. I'm going to stop the share. If I can stop the share, and I'm going to open it up to questions. Okay, Himanshu Prabhu, go ahead. Please unmute yourself.
Right, Prabhu. Thank you so much for a wonderful class. So you said the 4 gates. The first one is fundamental. So in that it is written posture. So Prabhupada focused on posture like we hear in the chanting as well, sit straight. But sometimes I don't feel like attentively chanting while sitting. So at that time, I go and walk and chant. So is it okay, or
that's fine? Of
should
course.
we not consider those rounds?
No, definitely. It's fine. Prabhupada demonstrated that as well. If you have a hard time sitting, then you can walk and chant. That's fine. Remember, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu walked and chanted, but he would cry tears. He ran toward the Lord. He would walk, he would chant. He'd walk through the forest when he chanted, the animals danced. So walking, that's main thing is that your posture should reflect attention and love. That could be in the walking stance. It could be in sitting. Typically walking and sitting. It could be standing in front of the deity. You can stand also. But it's, or standing in front of a picture. All those are good. Main thing is, does my body language reflect a sense of attention, respect, love, care, attention, and so on? That's the main consideration.
Yes, and one more, you said sacred space. So the last week we were traveling the whole time, and we were traveling in the vehicle. So is it okay if we yeah, you answered that question as well. It depends on our understanding. Yes.
Yeah. Main thing is that you want to sit in a place where it's peaceful and quiet, and then invoke the presence of the Lord by your feelings and thoughts. Just a quiet corner anywhere, even if you're in a hotel room. You say you're traveling, you stay in a hotel room or whatever, it doesn't matter, in a hostel. Just need to find a place that's clean and quiet without distractions. Ultimately, there's no hard and fast rules, right? What is that verse? Nam namakari bahuda nija sarva shaktis tatral pita niyamita smarane nakar. Niyamita means there's no rules. You've invested all your potencies in the holy name. There are no hard and fast rules. You can chant anywhere, anyhow, anytime. You can chant in the bathroom. You don't take the beads in the bathroom, but you should chant in the bathroom. It's possible. Not impossible, you should. Especially if you read statistics on how many people die in the bathroom. Definitely want to chant. I mean, people slip and fall and die right there. So you can't, it's a bathroom, I can't chant. No, you got to chant all the time. You don't take the beads, that's a different consideration, but you chant. There's no hard and fast rules. Just like if you want to study for an exam, nobody's going to stop you from studying at a rock concert. You can sit in the middle of a rock concert, open the book, study. No one's going to stop you. They may look at you weird, but it's not the best place to study. Library is usually better. There's no hard and fast rules, but certain things are more conducive. If you want to study Krishna conscious literature, then you want to be in a library like Jack's library. You can see Jack's library. It's incredible. Every time I see it, I'm like, what an amazing collection of Bhakti literature. Like, if you want to make a pilgrimage, you got to go to that in New Jersey and just check out his library. It's amazing. Yeah. You can take darshan. That's Min's camera right there. You can bow down to those books. Yes. So it's all about, optimizing. You see, one of the 6 elements of surrender is to take up everything conducive for Krishna conscious growth and to give up anything that is slowing us down. See? So if you apply those principles and put your intelligence into it, these questions will be answered fairly easily. Yes, great questions, Himanshu. Thank you.
And Prabhu, you mentioned avidya, which is true spiritual identity. Is that what is the meaning of avidya?
Avidya, yes. Avidya specifically in this context refers to the ignorance of our spiritual identity.
It's the ignorance of our spiritual.
Yeah, avidya means ignorance. Vidya means knowledge. Avidya means ignorance. Avidya refers to ignorance of our spiritual identity. Thinking I'm the body. If I think I'm this, leather bag full of bones, then that is avidya. Like if I'm convinced this is, me. Right? The word for that is what? Ahankar. Like, you're driving a car and someone hits it, scratches the car a little bit. Like, oh, you scratched me or you hit me. You don't really hit me, you hit the car. So if I think I'm the car, aham means I, and car means car. So I'm the car. No, ahankar means I think I'm the body. Yeah. So that avidya is connected to that. But we're very convinced we are the bodies. Our activities reflected, our worries, our stress, it all reflects that avidya. But when you give it up, then all of a sudden you're stress-free. You can focus on Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Sham Gopal.
One last question.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, sure.
We can go let's go to Sham Gopal Prabhu first, and then we'll come back to you.
Sure.
Yes, go ahead, Sham Gopal Prabhu.
So this is a different question. So we also hear many stories about Nama Bhasa.
Yes.
Right? So can you speak more about the pure chanting and namabhasa? What is exactly is happening there in those two?
Okay, so namabhas, abhas means just to get us like a sense, and then to get a sense, like you're not really witnessing it, but you get a sense that something is present there. Abhas. You're not seeing very clearly. It's kind of like the sun is just beginning to rise, but not really rising. You can just see some glimmer of light in the night sky because it's no longer night, the sun is rising. That's abhas. Then there is a Shuddhanam. Shuddhanam is the next stage where the sun is way up and blazing and everything is lit up. So the difference between Namabhas and Shuddhanam lies in clarity, purity, and the effect of chanting of the holy name. So these are the two stages on the spectrum. Abhas means shadow or resemblance. Namabhas means like a resemblance or a reflection of the holy name. So when the name is uttered with offenses, that's called namaparad. When the offenses you make an attempt to remove and reduce the offenses like in a conscious way, then you're moving toward namabhas. See? Now, even though namabhas is not pure name, it is incredibly powerful. That's, I think you're referencing to the stories. Namabhas can destroy your sins. If you chant with an intention, like actual conscientious working towards removing offenses, that's namabhas. It destroys your sins. It gives you liberation, moksha. Yeah. Because already dispelling the darkness, even the sun is not fully risen. But doesn't give you prema, pure love. Prema is very high. But Shuddhanam, pure chanting, unalloyed chanting, free of all offenses, full of faith and devotion, the feeling, the bhav is there. The way you live your life is very clean and pure. The way you treat other devotees is impeccable. You don't have any material motivations of karma and jnana. Jnana meaning impersonal in knowledge. You have a deep feeling of surrender, humility, and sense of love and affection. That is Premanam or Shuddhanam. And of course, you have a clear understanding that this is Krishna in his holy name. Now, what is the effect of that? Yeah, the sins and all, that's already destroyed by Namabhas. Moksha is already given by Namabhas. The effect of Shuddhanam is Prem, love of God. It gives direct realization of Krishna's form, qualities, and pastimes. And it's compared to the midday sun blazing. Yeah. So,
Thank you.
yes, great. Okay, thank you. I will go to Min and then come back to Himanshu. Is that okay, Himanshu? Yes.
Thank you so much for the class. I really liked when you said that chanting is like a pilgrimage, going on pilgrimage with feelings. And that's amazing because I think about, taking a pilgrimage to, say, Vrindavan. And I remember first time going there, I prepared, for a while, just thinking about Krishna and his leelas and actually chanting a lot. And as I was going there on flight, I was excited. I had anticipations as to, wow, I'm going to this place where Krishna came to give us his leela, but not knowing what to expect either, but being really excited. So when I translate all that to like entering chanting, that's just so amazing to me that I could actually have all those preparations and excitement to enter into the holy name. That was so beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. No, it's true. And you have experienced this too. If you can testify to it. It's a kind of a pilgrimage. If you see it from that angle, you say, oh yeah, it is like a pilgrimage. You realize it has been. You may not have seen as analogous, but now that you look back, you're like, oh yeah, and this is where we started. And now we've come this way, and now we're getting closer to Govardhan, and we can see this, we can see that. So similarly, you see that there's so many things. Your life has changed. So many transformations have happened very gradually. Sometimes it's not major. in one day. But over the days, if you count how much you've transformed, if you look how much you've transformed, it's major. It's huge. You're such a different person now because you've been chanting all this time. You know it. You don't need to tell anybody. You know in your heart what has happened. You feel it. And so when we discuss it amongst ourselves, we can relate to it. And it's quite exciting. The excitements that we used to have, running after material things. And when you abandon those excitements, there may be a phase where we're not feeling those. We kind of miss them because we're not seeing that buzz in the spiritual practice. But when you start walking on this path of the pilgrim's progress, and you see things appearing and you see yourself changing, then the excitement takes on a whole different meaning. And we can enjoy the intensity of excitement without the overhead of the external framework of our bodies. Yes. Thank you for that comment. Himanshu Prabhu, we can come back to your question now.
Thank you so much, Rupa. Sorry for a lot of questions. So this question is like, sometimes chanting doesn't go smooth. So is it always our offenses towards others, or it's not like we don't have taste? So.
Yeah, it's a good question. We should always evaluate and take an inventory. Have I been offensive? Is my attitude offensive to other people? That has to go first. I mean, if we're in the habit of being offensive and judgment, we discussed all those, by the way, in the previous verses, right? How to avoid those offenses, which is why the first thing is to escape offenses. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Bhakti Bhakti Durer Kotha is all Bhakti. Bhakti is a very far goal. First, escape from offenses. Otherwise, you're not doing yourself any favors. So that's why if you see the Nectar of Instruction, it's laid out this way. So by the time we have mature understanding up to verse number 6, having discussed it and reflected on it and evaluated how even when we offer corrections and things like that, we do it with a great deal of care. Even the lowest grade of devotee, we offer them respect from a distance. It's like there's no scope for offenses if you follow that framework. Then you can talk about chanting. Of course, we have to watch out for that. But then there's also many other reasons why we make offenses to the holy name. There's 10 offenses to the holy name. The first one is offense to the devotees. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains the root of these offenses is pramad. Pramad means inattention. So the fact that we feel dry, it's not smooth, it's not tasty, it's a drag, we actually feel exhausted after chanting, it's because of inattention. If you give attention, the chanting will nourish you. You're drinking the sugarcane juice, you're pouring it into your mouth with your mouth open. That's giving attention. If you chant without attention, it's like pouring the sugarcane juice, but your lips are closed. So it's all over the place. You're not getting anything, and it's a drag. And like, I've invested so much now. All this is all sticky, got ants over here. What's going on? This chanting really is awful. No, you got to open your mouth. You got to let it in. That's what attention. Attention means you're absorbing it into your bloodstream. Attention means you're showing Krishna you care, you're interested. Our only goal in this whole process is to prove to Krishna one thing. I am interested in you, my Lord. If we can prove to him, he does all the work of uplifting us, saving us from Maya, giving us delightful insights, bringing us to the right people. He does all the magic. We just have to prove to him we're interested in him. That's all. Otherwise, how do you think you came into touch with devotees? Randomly. Krishna says in the Gita, Brahmayan sarvabhutani yantrarurani maya. I direct their random wanderings. We think they're random. His hand is in our life to the degree we are interested. Just to show we're interested. But we have to prove to him. We have to prove it to him to start with what we eat, start with how we sit, start with the chanting process. So smoothness will come to the degree that we really want it. So attention is where it starts. Pramad is the root. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, inattention. That leads to laziness, distraction. All those are there. So if you're interested in this science, I can recommend some very good books. Book by Sachinandan Swami Maharaj, The Living Name. It goes over the 4 gates and the whole process. There's another book by Sachinandan Swami Maharaj called Nama Rahasya. It's a little brown book, Nama Rahasya. So you can look into those 2 books. But like that, there are many other books. Satsarup Maharaj has written many books on Japa Reform Notebook, Begging for the Nectar of the Holy Name. So I base a lot of my content on these different 4 or 5 books that are written by our gurus. So if you're interested in this material, I can recommend, take a look. We answer a lot of these questions in this Japa Jumpstart series because it's like a 6-hour seminar. All these questions are coming up. We have more time in those to discuss it than going down.
I copied that link. Prabhu, what was that verse you were mentioned? Bhakti Dure Katha?
Oh no, I've heard that reference in a lecture, but I don't think it's a verse. It's Bhakti Thakur giving just an instruction. It's not a verse. Yeah. Okay. Hari Vallabha Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Madana-gopāla Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Nice
I had a question. Yes, Prabhu. I had a question from last week's class, if I may ask.
Of course, yes. You had your hand up last week, but we never got around to it because we had to.
Yes. No, that's perfectly okay. So, Prabhu, I wanted to ask about, you had mentioned that there should be no material qualification and there should be no material discrimination even with devotees, bodily feature or even your qualification. But I'm just getting a sense, especially in modern day movement of ISKCON, where a lot of emphasis is given to senior devotees' material qualification and Brahminical backgrounds, where they're from and what their lineage is. And it's just creating a bit of a disparity. It's clearly not been part of our movement from when Srila Prabhupada started, where bhakti is the emphasis. But nowadays, there's a lot more emphasis given on material qualification. I guess it's the necessity to bring people of that background into the movement. But it's creating a bit of a disparity. Those who don't have that Brahminical background or do not have significant material qualifications would feel a little bit left out. And so please share your thoughts on that, Prabhu, because you've got a very good sense of our legacy in the movement and how these changes slowly infiltrate.
Yes, it's a good question. Interesting question on social dynamics and what, especially we might hear somebody being introduced or we read about them introduction as, okay, he comes from a long line of Brahmanical Vaishnava.
Brahmanical.
So, and we're very honored to have him here.
Yeah.
Does that mean that someone who's another also preacher but comes from a long line of Shudras, there's a little bit less?
Yes.
Because, that's true. We hear that all the time. And for me, it's nothing special. I come from a long line of men who had children. So there's nothing special really there. But so that's a good question. In Krishna consciousness, there is no consideration of caste, color, creed, nationality. Anyone can become pure devotee. The independence of bhakti, of all material qualifications, is exalted in the scriptures, right? You know that verse, right? It's glorifying all the different tribes that are found all over the world that are known to not have any culture. And yet it says they can become fully purified more than any other, just by contact with the holy name. Right? And then we gave the examples last week of Haridas Thakur and others. So yes, the challenge is there. Is a cultural conditioning can creep in, some of these tendencies you're observing, right?
Yes.
So the challenge is definitely there. Especially emphasis on Gotra lineage. This may stem from social pride, misunderstanding of Varnashram Dharma. We import the cultural baggage from our societies. And there may be some confusion between functional roles, Pujari, Cook, Yagya, Yagik Brahmana, and calling it essential identity. No. So it's an unhealthy form of discrimination. We should probably call that out. At the same time, one may also appreciate if someone does come, but that person is humble And we can appreciate that they're bringing a lot of some cultural nuances that we could learn from. And that's nothing bad with that necessarily, especially if they come from a very advanced Vaishnava family and there's certain small things on etiquette that we may not know that they may know. And we can certainly take it in a healthy way too. There's an opposite way too. Hey, he became a devotee as he's a humble devotee in spite of being a Brahmin. Even though he comes from such a lineage, he's not proud about it. Look at how soft-hearted and how he's touching the feet of the Shudras and like that. Something like that. It can be a glory, not necessarily a disqualification. You see, so it depends how you look at it. Depends how it's presented, but definitely a concern. Yes. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, thank you very much.
I did want to address Indusa Mataji's question, although she had to step away, but I'll just address it anyway. So she says, and then I'll come to Venu Madhuri Mataji's question. So let's see, what does Indusa Mataji say? It's kind of hard to read this. All right. Some people find there's often a natural stage of a surge of enthusiasm in the beginning, even if chanting is just 1 or 2 rounds, one can feel deeply uplifting and powerful. After some time, that initial inspiration can fade and chanting may begin to feel dry and mechanical. We have to figure out how to reconnect. Why does this happen to some devotees? I think it happens to all devotees. And what causes that shift? And how can we sustain or revive the original energy and taste in our practice? So there is a concept of initial mercy. In the beginning, Krishna often gives us that initial glimpse, a wave of mercy to encourage us. This is of agyata sukriti, actually, where we unconscious past devotional impressions awaken our enthusiasm. Krishna gives a dose of taste early, so we know there's something real here. It's not our own earned taste. It's a free sample. Now, I'm not making this up. This actually happened in the Bhagavatam. Narad Muni got the vision of the Lord. And then the Lord said, look, you're not going to see me again in this life. So you can see he got a free sample. And Prabhupada explains this concept. It's the same kind of thing. So it's there. We have to work for it. Now, of course, a lot of the time it goes down very quickly because of some bad habits that we bring in. Psychologically, the brain is wired to adapt. What once felt really novel and potent becomes familiar, and familiarity breeds contempt. And if we attempt this with contempt, then that adarad, the respect that we're supposed to have, is worn out. And now all of a sudden, we have no taste. So we start making more offenses. Another problem is we become familiar with the devotees around us. Before, in the beginning, we think, oh, these are all Vaikuntha angels touching their feet every day. And we feel very humble. I'm Dāsa, 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 Anudas. I'm your servant. And then after some time, no, I'm just Das. That's good enough for me. And then, you can call me Prabhu. That's actually better. No, so we get familiar. We think this is just another guy like me. In fact, I'm a little better than him or her. So then the familiarity breeds contempt with devotees, and we start making offenses. And then it wears down. So all those are effects for sure. How do we prevent that? We want to constantly slow down and chant with presence. Change your association if necessary. Are you around inspired chanters? Join the proper circles. Embrace the dry phase. Sometimes you're just going through a dark phase. Fine. And main thing is watch out for offenses. Be patient, but watch out for offenses. Keep watering the seeds. So those are some of the things, and we can all relate to it. Stephanie relates to it. I think we all felt it for sure. The initial bhakti bliss is a real thing. We get really excited. We can rekindle that and get even more than before. Actually, it's possible. It's 100% possible. But you really need to take it seriously. Process. Okay. Mother Mataji, you had your hand up earlier if you want to make a comment or question.
No, Hare Krishna, Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I just wanted to make sure you saw the question from Indusa. I'm all set.
Yes. Thank you for that. Rama Mataji has a comment. I appreciate very much the question, the comments about japa. The biggest struggle with japa is feeling fatigued. Okay, sorry. Is feeling fatigued about halfway through the rounds. I can't read. feeling fatigued about halfway through the rounds, even to the point I sometimes feel like I need a rest after chanting half of my rounds, or to avoid that feeling of fatigue, I will chant half in the morning, then 4 later and 4. That's fine. But in reflection from the class now, I can see that all of this fatigue is clearly from inattentiveness. I know that for sure, 100%. Okay, yes, a nice comment. It's true. Actually, even if you just apply the principle of attention to regular work, say you work in an office, right? If you do one thing at a time instead of trying to multitask, you'll actually not feel as tired and you'll get more done. Because the energy the brain takes to try to process this and that and multiple things because of inattention and habits, that energy is actually very draining. If you do one thing at a time, so now you're chanting, is focus on chanting, you'll actually get energy. But if you try doing one more thing at the same time, you'll get drained. See? So sometimes those habits of multitasking, we think we're doing parallel processing because we think we get more done. Like I can plan out my day while I'm doing my japa, but the japa will be draining then, and you still think of planning out. And the planning, you also do a mediocre job of planning out your day because you didn't give full attention to that either. You see, so you won't get anything done properly. If you want to think of 4 things at the same time, it's possible, but you have to be Lord Brahma because he has 4 heads. Right now, he has 1 head. He has a quad-core processor, so he can do that. If you have more than 1 head, that's fine. But generally, most of us, I'm noticing, we just have 1 head. So I think we'll stick to this standard. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for your question. All right. All right, it's 11 minutes after 10 p.m. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate your coming here and participating. It means a lot to me. It makes it worth my while to prepare these slides. I hope you're enjoying them. And I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday as we go deeper into this amazing book. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My obeisances to all of you. Hare Bol.
Thank you very much,
Madana-gopāla Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev, Dandavat
Hare Krishna,
Pranam,
Prabhu.
Jai
Thank
Shri
you.
Prabhupada.
Yeah, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Krishna Kalpatarubhyasya Kripasindhubhyasya Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo. Thank you, Madana-gopāla Prabhuji. Thank you for your wonderful lecture.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hare Bol.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank
See
you,
you.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol. See you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Very, very nice class.
Hare Bol.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Take care. See you next week.